So pharmacists have the right to refuse someone the morning after pill on religious grounds? Yes, that is true.
Thank you very much for watching The Right Stuff live on 5 this Monday morning with Anne Diamond, Anton Turek and our special guest Con Nicholden. Still to come, can even those hard of heart, the miseralists, the whingers and moaners, can they ever be persuaded to take Britain's greatest ever tennis star to their hearts and stop going on about him being a lanky, anti-English loser? 0207 173 5555 is the number of your thoughts. Help me get them to show you some love. But first, your thoughts on the Christian registrar demoted for refusing to conduct civil partnership ceremonies. Teresa Davies claims her Christian beliefs prevent her from performing such ceremonies for gay couples. But Islington Council in North London says she must because she's a local government worker and as such must serve all sections of the community. Miss Davies, who's worked for the council for 18 years, has already taken 4 months off sick due to the stressfulness of the situation. That was 3 years ago. She claims when she returned to work, she was told she'd have to take an entry-level job on reception or risk being dismissed. She reluctantly accepted the role of receptionist on the same pay, I should stress, even though she says she found this humiliating, which I think is a far from Christian insult to receptionists. But I digress. Miss Davies is appealing to the House of Lords, claiming her freedom of conscience is not being respected. She argues that doctors are allowed to opt out of performing abortions on the grounds of conscience, so why shouldn't she be able to opt out of performing civil partnerships? Equality laws introduced last year ban discrimination on the grounds of religion, belief or sexual orientation, so assuming the particular Christian church to which Miss Davies subscribes does frown on homosexuality, most are against gay sex but not civil partnerships, is she actually being discriminated against? Many Christians oppose sex outside of marriage. Did Miss Davies ensure the couples she used to marry were virgins before conducting their ceremonies, I wonder? Because it strikes me you can be a bit selective with these things. What do you think, Anne?
My mind has just changed in the last 30 seconds. I was going to say that I think common sense should prevail, and if I were head of this department, I'd say to her, you can opt out while I can enable you to opt out. In other words, while there are other registrars who can perform the same-sex marriages, what do we call them?
Civil partnerships.
Civil partnerships. Then, you know, let's try and be grown up about this and just keep, you know, iron things over, I think, smooth things over. That's what I was going to say. But actually, it's what you just said about, look, a civil partnership doesn't mean anyone's having sex. It's just a civil partnership, for heaven's sake. You can do it for whatever reason. It is a legal thing. And I'm beginning to think that she should actually wake up and smell the coffee on this one.
Because the civil partnership doesn't contradict Christian belief. It's not espousing homosexual
What that
acts.
couple go home and do is actually their private matter, because the civil partnership that is gone into in front of the registrar is just that, a civil partnership. It could just be two people who are doing it for all sorts of different reasons. And so I don't think it's her business to then think about what happens behind the bedroom door, actually. So I'm beginning to... No, my mind has just changed, and I think maybe she has got to accept that that's her business. She wants to be a registrar, that's what registrars now do.
Yeah. OK. Anton, what do you think?
I think it's interesting. You just can't sack people anymore, can you?
Well, no, she's not sacked. She's been...
No, but the point is
she says she's been demoted. She's on the same pay.
It's such a problem to sack people. Frankly, if I was in charge, I'd sack her. Because I think firstly, I think it's a nonsense. Secondly,
well, hang on,
because you want to give me another say. You ask me my opinion.
Just because
I
we have religious beliefs in this country and we've had wars to fight for people's religious rights.
No, the point remains is, you asked my opinion, I'll give you my opinion. I think it's a nonsense. I don't think people's religious beliefs are... I think people's religious beliefs should be like their sexuality, should keep them to themselves. Yeah. And I think it's something you do personally. My personal sexuality is of no business to you, and I wouldn't dream of telling you, and I'm sure you couldn't care less either. My religious belief is exactly the same. I'm sure you couldn't care what...
Yeah, but if the nature of your job changes... I mean, it wasn't a problem to her a year ago. Now it's a problem because the law has changed and said that she must now marry people of the same sex.
It's not a marriage, it's a civil partnership. Yeah. I have gay friends that have civil partnerships who totally frown on the idea of marriage. So very clear, it's a civil partnership.
It's a civil partnership. And I don't think it's part of the job. Now, if she's not willing to do the job...
But the nature of her job has changed. It wasn't part of her job a year ago.
Civil partnerships didn't exist 3 and a bit years ago, so that's when her problem began.
It's now given her a moral dilemma she can't cope with, which wasn't there when she trained to be a registrar.
That's right.
I'd sack her.
OK, Anton would sack her. Con, what would you do?
This is a tricky one for me. Because I'm a Catholic, you know, these things sometimes come up. Catholics recently pulled out of the adoption agency because of the...
Catholics have been pulling out for years, as far as I
dear.
know. There we go. But,
Matthew!
oh, that's what you told me at school.
Can't believe you went for that
That's a cheap one, wasn't it? That really was.
gag. That was a terrible cheap
I thought you were deliberately feeding me the line.
However, I will say, I mean, I think there should be a separation of church and state, and to some extent, I don't want people's religious views influencing their work, and I'm quite happy to have that separation. I agree that it should be private, that your religion is something that goes on at home. The same with your sexuality, so I'm quite happy for her not to do this job.
It's not a certificate saying that you are having a same-sex
No, that's an interesting sort of wrinkle. I think we all know that it does mean... I mean, that's like saying marriage isn't a certificate that you're having sex.
The Catholic Church has said, certainly my teachers at school told me very clearly that they didn't have any problem with two men living together and being in love so long as they didn't have sex. So the Catholic Church didn't have a problem with that. This is a civil partnership, says that if you are living with someone and you're in love, that you should be entitled to the same rights as someone, a man and woman who live together.
That sounds like a quibble, to be honest, is, you know, saying, all right, well, we don't know they're having sex. No, you've got a pretty good idea, though.
I was married to a woman and I didn't have much sex. I mean, some, admittedly, but not much.
But this is a very simple thing.
But at least it was
You
some,
were married to a woman.
She's doing a job for the state. I mean, I'd love to champion her as the one being bullied by the nasty, great, ugly council. You know, I'm usually in favour of that, but unfortunately she's doing a job that does require her to join civil partnerships. So if she can't do the job, then do something else. And I'm sorry for her, because obviously,
yes,
you know, she cares about it. But,
yeah.
You know, church and state.
OK. Interesting range of views. Let's throw it open to you. Is it right or wrong for this woman to have been demoted to receptionist on full pay? Let's see what you have to say.
We have Sarah, and she thinks it was right to demote her.
OK, Sarah, good morning.
Hello.
Hi there. Her job did change, though, didn't it? The nature of her job.
Yeah, but my job's changed. That's put me in a slight dilemma, and I think that's something you have to reconcile. You can't always expect religious belief to be an excuse not to do fundamental parts of the job. I mean, I'm actually a Buddhist, and I'm in the army. And
whoa, whoa.
What'd she say? She was in the army.
OK, how do you square that then?
well, it's something personal and something that would take a very long time, and something that all the Buddhists in the military have to deal with. There are quite a lot of us. It comes as a great surprise to a lot of people. But I can't then turn around and say I don't want to do it because of my belief. It's something that is part of the job. So then you have to then look at whether you're in the right job.
Absolutely.
How interesting.
I couldn't agree with her more.
How
in actual fact.
interesting.
I think that's a very. I think that sort of sums the whole thing up. Really, we should go to a break now. Thank you very much.
Okay. We could, but I want to get some more calls in. Sarah, thank you. Let's have another.
We have Miriam. She thinks they could have been a little bit more lenient.
Miriam, good morning.
Hello.
Hi there. What's your take on this, Miriam?
Basically, just to echo what Anne said about that her job description has changed. You know, when she took this job on, what was it, 18 years ago, she would never have had to consider the fact that she might have to do civil partnership. And I think it's a bit mean of them to just, you know, demote her over this.
But is it not the case that she has made the assumption, Miriam, that a civil partnership involves gay sex, which is, she has a problem with gay sex, and I'll throw out again that I think that a civil partnership is not a certificate that in any way endorses or has any view about gay sex. It's about a relationship between two people.
Well, no, but it usually involves it, doesn't it? Like with a normal marriage, like with you know, man and woman marriage, it usually involves...
Well, actually, I mean, first, as I said earlier, civil partnership is not a marriage, and a condition of a marriage is that it is consummated, so there's no discussion about marriage. The civil partnership is not a marriage. The civil partnership is a document that gives people that live together equal rights. People of the same sex.
Something that she'd have to consider at the time when she took the job on. And I think that maybe since that that it's become legal to have civil partnerships between same-sex couples, to have some sort of contract that they sign to say, you know, you must have to do this. I think sort of, you know, after that act come in to do that, but then because she sort of signed up for the job before that came in.
But then what about the thing about sex outside of marriage? You know, a lot of Christians think that it's wrong to have sex outside of marriage, but she would have married people that had sex outside of marriage.
Well, I mean,
she did that for
you
years.
can't possibly know that, but all I'm saying is, you know...
Well, I'm just saying she's chosen one part of her Christian belief, which is that that God doesn't like homosexuals. That's that part of her Christian belief, and says that's why she can't do civil partnerships. But she's selectively ignored the part of the Christian belief which says it's wrong to have sex outside of marriage when she'd married people that weren't virgins.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's sort of the other side of the coin. You know,
Miriam,
people do have to do jobs that they, you know, that they don't particularly like, but they usually have a good idea of what it's going to involve when they go into it. She didn't realise.
And the thing changed. OK, I hear you. Thank you, Miriam. We have to take a break, if only to pay Anton's bills, and after which we're going to ask, can those who hate him now learn to love Andy Murray? A year ago, you'd be saying he's a loser, he's a miserable git, he's anti-English. Have things now changed? Strikes me he's making more of an effort to be civil. Will you now do the same? 0207 173 5555 is the number. Can you learn to love Britain's greatest tennis star since Fred Perry? We'll find out after the ads. Don't go away.
Who said of Andy Murray, he's a far, far better player than I ever was? Bjorn Borg, Pete Sampras or Tim Henman? Find out after the break.